Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast. Harley on the headlines. You know, it's a quick look at some of the stories of the day. Little personal touch. In other words, sometimes I may have a comment or two. Sometimes it's just a straight up story, you know. I know you. You are smart enough to tell the difference. As always, I appreciate your support. Like, follow, subscribe, share the link with someone, please. And I do appreciate it. The China trip. We have been waiting to hear more about the details that will come from that summit. The White House has released some of the information. Some of it sounds just like what we've already heard. On agriculture, China has agreed to buy $17 billion worth of U.S. products, soybeans, corn, and such, through 2028. On aviation, we know about the Boeing deal. Early estimate, couple hundred airliners worth billions and billions of dollars. There is an agreement to make a deal for rare earth minerals. That's an important one, which China has in abundance and we have in the ground. We are not yet bringing those minerals to the surface in a meaningful enough way, so we still have to buy from countries that are doing the work, like China. None of the many deals being discussed are done yet. Lots of details still to be worked out. The two biggest items on the list are probably the least interesting to talk about. A board of trade is to be set up between the U.S. and China to focus on making all kinds of deals happen on non-sensitive items. That usually means non-military or AI items. A board of investment will be created to focus on investments in both directions. That's big stuff. I mean, just the 16 major movers and shakers who accompanied President Trump to Beijing can make big things happen, and they want to, which is why they went on the trip. And they've made contacts in the present and for the future. Other companies, maybe hundreds and hundreds of them, will be able to take advantage of this opportunity once the machinery is in place. The big sticking point is, of course, Taiwan. China wants to include language in some of its deals that would have the U.S. acknowledge that Taiwan is and should be part of mainland Red China. If we are not willing to do that, China has tacitly threatened trouble, maybe shooting trouble over it. A great many people think it will come to that someday, unless China comes to understand that Taiwan is Taiwan. Leave them alone. Make a friend. Do business with them. And China is saying again today, its independence and sovereignty are not negotiable. On Iran, sounds like bombs may be falling soon. President Trump says the clock is ticking on Iran. Iran refuses to accept that it has been militarily defeated because it can still exert, some fear and concern over the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran clings to its nuclear weapons dream and has not taken steps to turn over its enriched uranium. Such steps would be to allow U.S. construction crews to bring the equipment and recover the material. That's a very big deal, and it's going to happen eventually. Well, Wall Street is having another little tizzy over the war drums. Everything's down a little bit. In any case, it behooves the president to get this wrapped up sooner rather than later. There's only one situation that actually works, and Iran that admits reality, that drops any nuclear weapons fantasies, that stops threatening the shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, and that greenlights U.S. workers to recover the fissionable material. If you want to gauge Iran's attitude, just look toward the United Arab Emirates, where drones attacked a nuclear power plant, didn't do any real damage, set a fire on the perimeter of the facility, didn't injure anyone or cause any radiation leakage. The Houthi rebels in Yemen claimed the blame for doing it. The UAE says whether by Iran directly or a proxy, that horse in any color is still a terrorist attack. Senate Majority Leader John Thune's office says the next step for the in-depth security project related to the new ballroom is to refine the plan, redraft the plan, and resubmit it. The Senate parliamentarian has labeled the budget dollar or the billion-dollar price tag too big for a side deal on the budget, which has tickled the Democrats no end, but forces the GOP to rework the proposal and chop it up into chewable pieces. It'll happen. It's just that Democrats are making everything as difficult as possible for the Trump administration, even when the ballroom and its sophisticated facilities are really for the use of future presidents, not Trump. And lastly, in Alberta, Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounties were called to a summer barbecue where people said a thief had been running off with some of the hot dogs from the grill. The Mounties did an investigation, vigorous and detailed, and they located the culprit. As described, he had reddish hair, was fairly short in stature, and despite the warm weather, he was wearing a thick fur coat. They even got a photo of the fox with about 3-foot-long hot dogs hanging out of his mouth. He just stood there looking at him, probably too full to try running away. The police decided to let him off with a warning instead of incarceration. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. Look, if you're finding anything good in these brief visits, I sure hope you'll come back, bring some folks with you. I like to acknowledge that when you tune in, you're giving me some of your time, and I know time is precious. I appreciate it. So please help spread the word. I'm Harley Carnes. Until next time, please do yourself a big favor. Make some good, conscious choices in your life today. Make a decision to be happy, because it is a decision. And fly safe. It's the only way to get there.